They told us to give a disclaimer. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, owners, sponsorships, or employees of thereof. Pretty much, if you're soft, don't listen to this podcast. One thing I pride myself on is just being the same and trying to look out for my folks along the way.
Like, even with all these, big things happening, like, you still mad humble, and you still, like, you have enough clout now where you could easily be like, I'm not fucking with this, I'm not fucking with that.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers, it's on. Unrestricted Podcast listeners, thank you so much for clicking play. Because of you, those numbers are going up, up, and up. And if you're listening on the audio platform, maybe it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the repugnant stepchild called SoundCloud, we would appreciate if you just leave a comment. Let us know what you like. Maybe there's a guest that you loved. Let me know. Maybe they'll have them back on. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment, like, share, subscribe. It's free to show love. Doesn't cost you a thing. So go ahead and do that. Now, today I got a very special guest across from me, somebody that I've been wanting to have on the podcast for a very long time now. Montucky's Beer Mascot.
Yeah, cold snacks.
Pit Viper King. He has him on right now. 4-time Burger Week eating champion. The PA announcer for Devotion Championship Wrestling. And undisputed bar fights champion. My man, Gutz Rules. Gutz Rules is in the building.
Oh, it's Gutz, my man.
Gutz.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Gutz.
Yeah, Gutz.
Okay, not Gutz.
No.
Gutz.
Everybody always gets that. But it's
Gutz.
like the first thing when I meet people. I'm like, it's Gutz, man.
Where did Gutz come from?
It's actually my last name. So I've been called that since like junior high, middle school, yeah, like nobody's ever called me by my first name. So it's kind of like a mystery. People, like, when people hear my first name, they're like, oh, that's your first name. I won't tell people for years, I'm like, I'm Gutz, the one and only.
Not Gutierrez.
Not Gutierrez. Some of the friends call me that. Some friends call me Gutenheimer,
Yeah.
Gutsy, whatever. Nope, just Gutz, yeah.
You're an amazing looking dude, man. You got the crown, got the Pit Vipers on, got the blazer.
Got everything,
chains.
You got to go all out. You got to go all out.
I love it, man. There's so much to you that I want to jump into. Are you from Utah?
Yeah, I am. I'm born and raised. I grew up in Tooele and Vernal, kind of both sides. I came from a divorced family, so I did a little time there, I graduated in Vernal, and then moved out to Salt Lake right when I was 18, and been here for 20 plus years now, in the Salt Lake Valley. So
big family?
Oh no, I'm an only child. So,
oh wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. I'm a spoiled brat, but hey.
So you grew up, obviously parents divorced. You lived every which way in Utah. You're west side, east side, and now you're in Salt Lake City. What was life like for Gutz? Were you always a wrestling fan?
Oh yeah, I grew up being a big time wrestling fan. My dad was actually a high school wrestler, so he hated professional wrestling, because of the F word. But I'm like, no, and so I grew up really liking it. I was 17, 18 during the heyday of like the Attitude Era and all the good stuff. I grew up with the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, all those guys. And then, in my 20s, I kind of quit watching it a little. And now I'm back into it as an adult, and I've got my hand in it, helping out. I've got friends doing it now. Yeah.
Now, is this persona that you have right here, has this always been you?
This is me. This is me. If I'm not wearing the King gear, I'm always wearing something flashy that you're definitely going to see me. I'm going to stand out. Like this isn't a gimmick. It's me, like Macho Man says, you're living the gimmick, but
this is you always.
Always.
What made you go, where did you get the idea to be flashy?
It's just been my style, man. Like, I don't know what all happened, but I guess I bartended for 16 years, so that I got used to being in front of people and being kind of the life of things, and so just the flashiness has always been there, and it's just slowly grows and grows and becomes a monster of its own.
Have you always been outgoing?
Oh yeah. I always played sports, and always did. I did the scouts. I did like all the other little clubs that they got for kids and stuff. And yeah, I've always had a lot of friends. Always been outgoing. Been the life of the party. But yeah.
Did Dad influence you to wrestle in school?
No. I actually it's weird. So my real young life, I grew up on Dugway Proving Ground. My dad was a school teacher out there, so it's a military community out in the West Desert. And I grew up as a civilian there because my dad was a school teacher. So that was a little weird being a civilian, but it was a very, very small community. So, I mean, we had the basic sports like football and basketball, baseball, and I did all those, but they didn't have a wrestling program. And, they didn't have a lot of the stuff that the bigger schools have. So by the time I moved to Tooele in junior high, that's kind of, not the, I don't know. I was already doing other stuff at that time, I guess you'd say, rather than, they like to start kids pretty young on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my son just started boxing.
Oh, nice.
10 years old. He's just completed his first week of boxing. And he's loving it, First week, awesome. It was hard. He was sore, great sleep. Best sleep he's had ever.
I bet.
But getting your kids in sports young, I think is one, that's going to teach them the fundamentals, right? And how to navigate bullies and things like that. That's honestly why I wanted to get him into boxing, because he was dealing with bullies.
Yep.
Did you ever encounter any bullies growing up?
Yeah, I was a bigger kid, so I had to deal with it, and I got, I probably didn't handle it the best way. I was a little rough and tumble when I was a kid, but it's a tough thing. Bullying's out there, and that's one good thing that we do with Devotion Championship Wrestling is we do anti-bullying assemblies at elementary schools, and we show them that it's better to talk things through and maybe talk to an adult. But yeah, I had to deal with bullying. I mean, it's something that's out there that. No good,
It's not going nowhere either.
No.
I was telling my son, like, he's about to go to middle school. It's not going to end in middle school. It's not going to end in high school. It's not going to end as an adult. There's always somebody that had a hard upbringing, and it's not anything personal. It's honestly them. It's the way they cope, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the sad thing, they're probably getting it from somewhere themselves, and then they bring it back and take it out on other people, and it's just something, and as an adult, we see it in the workplace. You see it your whole life. You just have to figure out how to personally deal with it. And
you said younger years, Warrior was kind of like your guy.
Yeah,
you loved the Warrior. You fell out. You said around after the Attitude Era? Is that Ruthless Aggression era you fell out of?
Yeah, I think I fell out. I think it was the Ruthless Aggression, kind of the time when WCW was dying off, because in those days I was honestly more of a WCW fan than a WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it. It was WWF at the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so when they kind of started going downhill, that's kind of when I quit watching. And I mean, that was also the time when The Rock and Stone Cold were going hard in WWF. So I don't know. It probably was just, getting into that younger 20s age, you've got other things on your mind.
Yeah.
So
I just wrapped up a WrestleMania 40 preview episode with some of my friends, and we were talking about our Rushmores in wrestling. I'm interested to know yours.
Well, I'd have to say from, being a kid, I'd probably say Undertaker, Hulk Hogan. You'd have to put the Warrior up there, even though, I mean, I know now things have come out about the Warrior, but when I was a kid, the Warrior was the man.
We're not going to be politically correct about 90s and early 2000s wrestling.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
So Warrior, Taker, and...
Warrior, Taker, you got to have Hulk Hogan up there. And then I'd probably throw The Rock in, just because of what The Rock has become now, and The Rock himself is bigger than wrestling. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty amazing. But then I've also, to flip the script, I've also always really liked Medusa / Alundra Blaze. And I'm also a huge monster truck fan. So like I've met Medusa a few times, and, you know, so I wouldn't put her on the Mount Rushmore, but I'd say should be somewhere around there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying that honorable, you can go so many different ways with the Mount Rushmores, right? The people that transcended the game of wrestling, you know, you can go luchador route with Ray, you know, you can go big man route with Nash, you know, you can Scott Hall, all these guys, Sting, you can go all these different routes with Mount Rushmores. So narrowing it down to 4 is always
exactly. And then, like you say, and then you've got so many different eras, you know, like you've got the old time guys that were the innovators of the sport. And so I just go off of what I grew up on, I guess, what influenced my fandom, you know.
Absolutely. Now, how did you get involved with devotion?
Well, that's the funny story is I had the King image built up from my whole Burger Week challenge. And then, so what happened was I was bartending, doing a bunch of stuff, and then that's when COVID hit and shut everything down. And so it was kind of like, well, you know, I kind of still want to go do stuff, you know, and Devotion Championship Wrestling was still doing their shows. And so what had honestly happened was it was like the same week you had both WWE and AEW coming to town, like back to back. And that was legitimately like the night that the lockdown went down. Like WWE was here, and then a week later AEW was here. And that day of the AEW show was kind of when they started being like, oh shit, we need to lock things down. Don't go next to each other. And so they still ended up doing the show. And it was a little crazy, being that everybody kind of didn't know what was going to go on. But because they were doing the shows, like I say, I'm a flashy guy. When WWE was here, I dressed up like Ric Flair because I've got a Ric Flair robe, and because I'm like, I want to be on TV, you know. If I'm dressed up, maybe they'll throw me on TV. I didn't really know where my seats were at, and I'm like, whatever, you know, make people happy. Just by being a crazy guy. And so I did that. And then the next week AEW was here, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to dress as the King because that's me. I'm the King. So we did that. And that's kind of where I found out about the Devotion guys. And I sat by some of the guys that are the wrestlers, sat by them at the AEW show. And so they talked me into coming to their show, which was the following week. And at the time, they were on CW Network. And so I was like, I'm going to dress up like the King and be on TV. I don't care if it's just local CW. I'm like, you know, I won't be on TV. And so I dressed up like the King, and Manny Lemons, who's been on your show before, he came up after the show and he's like, dude, if you come to our shows dressed like that, I'll put you right on hard camera. So you'll be on TV the whole time. And I'm like, cool. And so I started coming to the shows, and like I say, at the same time I was bartending downtown. And so after the show, I'd go, you know, hang out and have a beverage. And it just so worked out that the wrestling crew was doing their after-show dinners at the place next door. So I'd bump into them after the shows, and after, you know, a few drinks, I told them that I had ambitions to be a voiceover PA announcer, not really voiceover, but PA announcer. And I told them that I'd flown down to San Diego. I've tried out for the Padres. And so they're like, well, why don't you come give us a hand? And 3.5, 4 years later, here I am, the PA announcer for Devotion.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's an incredible story. What I hear there is just like something that you weren't scared. You weren't scared to, or maybe you did have a little fear to try it, but you went and you conquered it. You did it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes that's all you got to do. If you see something, you want to go get something, just go do it.
Yeah, yep. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're not going to succeed at it, but hey, I've always felt like I get more anxiety and stress that if I don't even try it. Like if I go and try it and fail, and I'm like, that's not my thing. I can, not going to happen. At least I'll be like, yeah, I gave it a shot, but.
Did you always, did you want to go, because you talk about being on television and stuff. What did Gutz wanted to do as a kid? What did you want to be?
Yeah, I'm going to say like, every other kid, I always wanted to be like a pro athlete or something, which now that you put it that way, yeah, I guess it's kind of links up. But yeah, no, I always kind of wanted to be I always wanted to be a pro athlete, and I wasn't, I played sports, but then as I got older, I realized, yeah, that's not ever going to happen. And it was never set in my mind that that's what I want, that I wanted to be in front of the camera or whatever. It just slowly has morphed into that, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you're seen. Definitely.
Yeah.
You ain't missing you.
No. And that's why I say, even if I'm not dressed like the king, you're not going to miss me in a crowd.
Now, have you had the opportunity to meet the King Lawler?
No, I haven't yet. And that's the thing. I didn't really... he was a little before my time. He was always there doing commentary and he'd occasionally have a match, but his heyday was a little before my time. But I honestly really didn't link the two characters until after I'd been wrestling a little bit. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm totally gimmick infringement. But then again, you look at it, and through the history of wrestling, characters kind of trade hands from person to as time goes on.
Well, it's not carbon copy at all. It's just
no.
The name King is the only thing that I really correspond, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got a different crown. You're just different swag, you know? Different. You mentioned that the King was something that was attributed, was it to the burger competition?
Yeah, that's how the whole King came along. Was I did the Salt Lake City Weekly had a Burger Week challenge, and they did it 4 years in a row. And what happened is I won it the first year. I'll give you the long story. Salt Lake City Weekly does the Burger Week challenge. Me and the buddy are sitting there. His mom worked at City Weekly, and we look at this contest that they're doing, and I'm like, dude, this contest's kind of like set up for either nobody's going to win it or one person is going to win all the prizes. And after talking more, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to win all the prizes. The Burger Week challenge was they had a monopoly board in City Weekly, and they had about 32 different restaurants and bars locally that you had to go to and get a burger at, and they'd stamp your board, but you only had like 2 weeks to do it. So they didn't necessarily, there weren't really a lot more rules on that, like you had to eat them, had to eat the whole thing or just try it. And so the first year I went and did it, and I'd try all the burgers. I wouldn't necessarily, I'd half them with friends and stuff. But then I'd always take photos and stuff, and people would ask my opinion on burgers. Well, they did it a second year. So I do it the second year. I won the first year. Second year, I do it again. People start following me more for it. And that's kind of when, during the second year, I started dressing up a little bit. Or what it was is the final burger, I dressed up. And I'm like, I'm going to win this 2 years in a row. Here we go. And people just loved that. They're like, oh my gosh, you're the Burger King Gutz, And so then the third year came around, and I just dressed like the king and went to every restaurant and I filmed eating every burger. Like, it turned into a marathon. Like I say, you had to go to about 30 places in about 2 weeks. So it was an average of about 4 burgers a day.
Wow.
Which it stacks up. It stacks up on the inside.
Yeah.
By the third year, I was doing the full-blown king thing, and the restaurants would be like, oh, the king's here. I'd show up, and they'd be expecting me, and went on a fourth year, same thing, and then fourth year, then City Weekly really kind of backed it, and they were like, where's Gutz going next? And I just crushed it every year and became the king, and I was kind of hoping that City Weekly would make it more like, by that fourth year, I was like, I've had enough burgers. I love them, but it's really a workout doing this contest. And
how many of them, 4 years in, how many of them were different?
It was almost same? Half and half.
Okay.
Like, each year, there'd be about half of them would be new, and about half would be the ones that are local, been there forever establishments. And the thing was it was funny. Like, I'd go to, and I had to pay for all the burgers too. That's the other thing. So like
that adds up
real fast. I was spending probably just for the contest $500-600 just doing burgers in that 2 weeks.
Sheesh.
You'd have, because the funny thing is you'd go to some places and they'd be like, oh, order whatever burger you want, and I'd be like, perfect, I just want your smallest, like, regular cheeseburger, and that'd be fine. But then you'd go to some places where they wanted to throw everything on the kitchen on the burger, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then charge me $22 for it.
Well, I'm sure, knowing that you're gonna be reporting or saying something about their burger, I'm sure they want to give you the best.
Exactly.
And just asking for a damn cheeseburger is probably not their best.
Exactly. Yeah. So I totally understand it. Yeah. But it, like, all the burgers were great, and it was such a great experience. And they quit doing that. I don't know if they quit doing that because I just won it every year, or it was also 2020. So there were no places open to do the 5th year. I definitely like them to fire it back up and go again,
You mentioned the 4th year you were hoping of something different. What were you hoping for?
Oh, yeah. No, I was hoping on the 4th year they'd use me more of like a mascot and a spokesman for the thing, and I could have gone to and like been like, oh, I'm at this location tonight, come see the Burger King, have a burger with the king, just for the fact that I didn't want to eat 35 burgers again, but I still wanted to be a part of the program and still wanted to. What I was also thinking, I wanted to get more people involved because yes, I won it 4 years, but there honestly wasn't a lot of people that even tried, because they did make it such a contest that was like pretty much unattainable. Like, it's not just eating the 4 burgers a day, it's driving to all those locations. Like I say, it's paying for all those burgers, so it wasn't just the eating the burgers that made it a difficult challenge.
Well, I think City Weekly, there still is an opportunity. The Burger King might have a Burger Queen, or the Burger Prince, like whatever it is,
Exactly.
Well, out of all those places, can you give me maybe 5 that are must go get a burger locations?
Absolute. Well, I was going to say the Garage is a good one, but it's got my absolute favorite, though, and a standby, and there's several different reasons why I say it's just going to be Apollo Burger. Definitely Apollo over Crown. If you're a Utah person, there's a battle between Crown and Apollo.
Yes, there is.
I enjoy Apollo because it's always consistent. Their vegetables are always fresh. The burger's cooked great. So the Athenian from Apollo Burger is my favorite. But some other good ones, like I said, you had the Garage. Gracie's puts a good garlic burger down. Green Pig has good food. The guys that own Piper Down, they've got both Piper Down and is it an Ice House, I believe it's called? Maybe this. Yep. Yeah, Ice House. Yep. They've got some great burgers over there.
I haven't tried their German brats because Ice House is more German themed. Yep. I would love to try that, but man, Piper Down fish and chips.
Oh yeah,
it's not a burger, but
yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, that's why I say both those places, their management has them locked in on their food. They've got some good food over there.
Man, I'm surprised they didn't take more advantage of it. But I think it also opens you up to have a good opportunity to create your own thing.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I've wanted to do, and it's just I've got so many things on the plate. You've got to kind of take what you get. But I have been wanting to go do burger reviews at places, and especially since I do a lot of traveling with Pit Viper, I've wanted to do them, in some of these other cities that I've been to. But it's it's just one of those things. I got to sit down and get it done. But no, that's definitely a want that I want to do, is just do King Gutz's burger reviews and go in and eat a burger and make people laugh,
I need you to stun the Burger King mascot. I need you to hit him with a stunner.
I'd love to. Boom. We got it.
How was you just got back from Arizona?
I'm actually going to Arizona next week for Bike Week. I was my last trip I did was 3 weeks ago. We had Nitro Cross finals in Las Vegas with Travis Pastrana.
How was that?
That was pretty awesome. I went and did all the stops on the tour, so we had Phoenix. We had a couple California stops, the Vegas. They actually come out to Tooele and do the first race of the season out in Tooele out at the raceway there.
Wow.
But yeah, that's kind of crazy hanging out with Travis Pastrana's crew and like see, because he's a pretty big name too. He's got a lot of people that watch, and yeah, it's just fun watch. I don't do any of the crazy stuff they do, but just being around it is amazing.
Yeah, so you do that, you do the Pit Viper stuff. What is Pit Viper? How'd you get involved with them?
Pit Viper are sunglasses that sunglasses would wear if sunglasses could wear sunglasses. No, they're an awesome sunglasses line, and it's more of a lifestyle than just the sunglasses. I mean, we of course now have all kinds of apparel and hats and different styles of frames. And the whole thing with that is I know the two guys that started the company, and I was just kind of friends with them when they started. What it was is one of the guys that I bartended with lived by them out east in Vermont, lived by one of the two guys that started the company. And so he would help them with their audio and video at their first couple shows they ever did. And I would just tag along with them, and I'd be kind of their gopher and hauling stuff from the truck and back and forth. And I loved them from day one, and I hung out with them, and I knew they were something special. And so I've just always been around. And then, you know, everything kind of comes full circle to the 2020 year, you know. I was bartending. Bars kind of went out for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Pit Viper blew up. So I'd go down and help them in the warehouse, help them ship. And they'd just be paying me in sunglasses. I'm like, don't worry. I'm like, I've still got my bartending job. I'm just waiting for that to get going again. Like, let's not get too official. Just give me sunglasses and stuff. And so we were doing that. And finally, they're just like, dude, we got to hire you. Like, we got to hire you. And so then they hired me, got me on the payroll. I was trying to do the bartending and Pit Viper a little bit, and then Pit Viper just is too good of a company to try and deal with both. And so then I just went full time with Pit Viper, and it's just been amazing ever since.
One thing that I love about you, no matter what you tie yourself to, you go 110%. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I knew about Pit Viper before I even seen them attached to anything else, right? Because of what you got going on. And that's the thing about you that I feel any brand should take advantage of and love, is that you're going to really go hard for them.
Exactly.
And to see what you were doing even before, like going to the warehouse and doing these things with them and not even getting, obviously getting merchandise. That's great. But to stay loyal and hungry and understand that I see the vision, I believe in this brand, I'm gonna do what I can to help them out. That's incredible, man.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's been amazing to watch, like, the two guys, they're good buddies, it's not just they're my bosses, but no, they're good buddies. They're on a texting level, like, oh, I saw this, I'll text them, but just to see where it came from, like, one of them, they used to be in a warehouse the size of this room, and one of them lived there during the winter, it's just one of those old ski buddy, from rags to riches, basically, and to see them come through that is something pretty awesome.
Are they manufactured in Utah?
They're not manufactured in Utah, but everything else is done here. Our world headquarters is here. Our main distribution center is here. We've got 2 separate facilities, and everything is done. Everything other than the manufacturing is done here in Salt Lake. Yeah,
that's dope, man. It's a local brand.
Yeah, they've wanted to keep it that way. They started it here in Salt Lake, and they wanted to keep it here in Salt Lake, keep it local, keep true to they're both skiers, so technically it's a ski-based company, but we go into all levels. But they did want to keep grassroots to the ski community and to, authenticity. And I think that's why I like them, is because that's my main thing, is being authentic, and people see that immediately. And I don't know if I don't necessarily try to be authentic. I just am.
Yeah. Be yourself always, man.
Exactly.
Be yourself always. And salute to Pit Viper for keeping it local, man. That's dope. Did you ever work with or wanted to work with Skull Candy? Because I know at one point they were super heavy into Salt Lake.
Yeah, no, actually I've done events at the Skull Candy facility up in Park City, and Pit Viper has actually done Pit Viper's Skull Candy headset, headphones, whatever. And we did that, I think that was 2 years ago. So we've got friends with them, and they're still up in Park City. I think they have got a bigger headquarters now somewhere else, but yeah.
Is there a product or a brand that you want to do for you, like your own brand thing?
I'm honestly pretty open to whatever, like we're loosely know some of the bump box people. I'd honestly like to get officially sponsored by this belt company that I'm working with. They're friends. I'm just down to do whatever. I just like making people happy and being out there and I guess having eyes on me, So
talk a little bit about the Montucky.
Yeah, the Montucky cold snacks. This was they're doing a mascot contest, and they did this last year. And what it was I got on the internet or on Instagram. And yeah, they were make a 30-second video showing why you should be the Montucky mascot and get your face on a can, get your face on a NASCAR, like all this crazy stuff. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I just was thinking I want to do content for my own Instagram. I don't really care if I win or not. Maybe get some eyes on me from Montucky. Maybe something will happen. And so for some reason, I just thought of the idea for my video, and I went and did the video, and it came out amazing. And it was simply just me. I went around a couple places, and I had a Montucky, and I did the whole zoom in, zoom out of me just simply taking a drink off the can and looking and smiling. But I did it to the Full House song, so everywhere you look, and it was a riot. Everybody loved it. And like Montucky fell in love with it. So yeah, what they did is they had everybody do them, and they posted them on their Instagram, posted the videos on their Instagram, and they had public input, and there were a lot of good videos. But everybody kept being like, but yours is hilarious. They're like, yours is the one that actually makes me laugh.
Can I see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks cool, man.
Yeah, and so then what they did is then they filed it down to 10 finalists. It was actually 12 finalists, and they opened up voting online. And I don't know the final numbers, but they were like, you pretty much crushed it on the voting. So they did the can. I'm on 100,000 cans. Last September, they put this logo on Spencer Boyd's NASCAR truck for Bristol. So they flew me out to Bristol, and I got to hang out with Spencer Boyd, the driver. I got to be down there in the pits. I got to literally sit right there as he pulled in to take his pit stop.
Oh, wow.
And it was just insane. My first NASCAR race ever at Bristol, which is the Coliseum of NASCAR.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah. So it was just amazing. And they got a lot of good footage. They're going to be dropping some video and stuff that they had some professional guys out there filming. They're going to be dropping that to promote the next Montucky mascot. So they will be doing the same contest. That's kind of the link here. It links you up to, from on the can, it links you up to my video, and then how to submit your own videos for the next Montucky mascot coming up. So,
dude, that's so cool, man. Like you're literally on the can. You're a part of history.
Exactly.
And hearing your story, you keep on making history. You made history with City Weekly. You're making history with Pit Viper. You made history with Montucky. Like, you keep on doing this thing. Do you ever step back and be like, man, I'm doing some pretty cool shit?
If I do occasionally, but if I do that, then it kind of hits me, and I'm like, what? It's all in one, and it's like, what am I doing? Well, I'm crushing it, and it's not not looking at it in a bad way or an overconfident way. It's just kind of like, oh my gosh, this stuff's working out. Like, people are loving what I'm doing. And like I say, it's not hard to do because it's me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm just keep being me, you know?
Absolutely. Do you still bartend?
No, I don't. I'm just full-time at Pit Viper. They've got me doing so many events that, I mean, I'd like to do, the one thing for bartending that I miss is seeing my regular customers and my friends that way. But, and the cash flow, obviously, but the money's, you know, I'm not worried. Yeah. Not worried about that so much. But no, I don't want to bartend again.
Did you, how was your bartending experience? Did you ever have any like oh shit moments? Because I working in a bar myself, DJing in different clubs and bars, I sit and I talk to my bartenders at a bar named Sue, both locations, and I just hear their stories, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a reality TV show.
No, definitely we had some oh shit moments, but not in a bad way. Like the bar I worked at, actually, we really didn't have, I think in 16 years, I think there might have been 2 fights maybe, or you know, they'd be outside, and if they're outside, I'm not worried about that. But no, it was a very mellow bar that way. But yeah, we definitely did have like the oh shit, like, what the hell just happened there?
Dude, I was at a bar named Sue, and I'm waiting to DJ, and there's a couple next to me, and they're kind of like arguing, but not arguing. He mentioned that he wanted to get a fleshlight. And I was like, whoa, this is getting good. So I kind of take my beard, I kind of scoop closer to him. And she was like, what's that? She didn't even know what it was. And here he is explaining to her what a fleshlight is. And she's like, well, why do you need that? It just got so uncomfortable. And he was like, well, we can get you some stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. Yeah. And I think that if you knew true stories that happened at that bar, you would fucking be amazed at what you hear.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like the stories or the type of people that come in, you know, like we regularly once a week had our group of swingers that would show up, you know, and they've got the one main guy that pays the bill and he's Big Daddy, you know, and just wild stuff like that goes on, you know.
I hear there's a big swinger community in Salt Lake.
I hear that too, you know. I personally don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but
is Gutz, are you a single man?
Yeah, right now I'm single. I'm not too I mean, it's cliche. I like to go hang out and have fun, but I'm really too busy to focus on like settling down and that stuff, you know. But
any children?
Oh no children.
Now, being a single child growing up, you know, do you have is it a smaller family, or do you come from a bigger family?
Yeah, actually, it is a smaller family. I've got 3 cousins, and I've got 1 aunt left. It's funny. When I was born, tons of family everywhere, but yeah, my mom had a brother and a sister, and my dad had a brother, and they've all passed. Well, not my aunt is still here, but they've all passed. And yeah, I've got 3 cousins. One lives in Hawaii, and the other one lives up in Seattle. They're kind of in the Seattle area there, and yeah, we stay in touch. And yeah.
Did as mom and dad pass?
Oh no,
they're still around. What did they think about King?
My mom gets quite the kick out of it. She no joke is 69 years old. Her birthday's tomorrow, so I could still say she's 69, you know. And she loves it. When it was her birthday last year, I'm like, well, how old are you, Mom? And she's like, I'm 69. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, I know all your Pit Viper people love that. And I'm like, they will. And she's totally behind it. She doesn't drink or anything, but she likes to hang out with us while we do it. As you know, she can't stay up all night, but she'll hang out with us and be our DD, and she loves it. And my dad just gets quite the kick out of it. You know, he's an old rough and tumble, you know, country boy. And we did the can release party, and he lives up in Flaming Gorge now. And I told him about the party, but I'm like, yeah, if you make it, you make it. And I'm sitting at the can release party doing the thing, and I look over, and my dad had snuck in, and he's sitting at the end of the bar just kind of watching what was going on. And I'm like, get your ass over here. Come on, come hang out, And he's like, oh, I didn't want to steal the show. I'm like, you're my damn dad. Get over here,
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
How many of these cans you got stashed away?
They're going fast. They gave me, I think, 6 cases to start, and I'm down to 1.5, and I'm being very lenient. But they have made it to Salt Lake. I saw there's some bars, they've got like little placards of me, the little table displays with the Montucky. So they've got it out on advertisement. Somebody took a photo. They have it for sale in Target. I'm not sure which Target, but they're in Targets. I haven't seen them in the gas station yet, but I honestly haven't really looked in the gas station yet. But I've found luck at Chevrons and like Holidays and some of the not 7-Eleven and Maverick, which are weird. I talked to the distributor, and not a ton of the Mavericks have them, but.
So Montucky's obviously not a local brand.
No, they're out of Bozeman, Montana, and they're sold nationwide. I've found them in Tennessee. I've found them down in Arizona. So they're all over the place. They're just, it's a nice, refreshing, just nice light lager, I'd say similar to like a PBR or a Bud Light, just in. Nothing overly fancy, but still a good cold snack, as they like to call them.
Has any local brands reached out to you? Because you did a phenomenal job promoting this product.
Exactly. Honestly, no, none of them have. It's funny that some of these, I don't know what it is, but I think some of the local guys think because I'm local, they kind of overlook me. But then I've got all these national companies that are like, no, we see what you've got, and we love your personality, we love your energy, and honestly, I'm like, I'll go with that. If the local guys want to overlook me, but the national guys want me.
What do you think that is? Because it doesn't start and stop with what we're talking about. It goes way deeper. Where so I'm heavily invested in the hip hop community here. And we have great artists, we have great talents, but for some reason, a lot of guys and gals get overlooked. And I feel like that's Utah in general. What do you think it is that we don't really get support from our own people?
And I haven't really thought of it that way, but to tell you the truth, I kind of think it might be that people, they don't have that much faith in themselves, maybe, or have that much... they don't think that they're on the same level as the rest of the country, so then their equals aren't on the same level as the rest of the company, I guess you'd say. Like I don't know if that's a true theory or not, but I don't know what it is, but it is very weird that like the locals overlook the locals when we've got a lot of people doing a lot of big things nationally, and that really even comes in hand with like wrestling. You'll see if WWE comes to town, and granted The Rock was there, but they'll sell out a show. Mm-hmm. It's tough to get people to local wrestling shows, no matter what company it is. There's numerous wrestling companies here in Utah, and you'll get 50, 100 people at those shows, whereas a big name comes in and they can get 20,000 people there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's a tough thing, which I don't understand. I mean, DCW got great talent. DCW is that next step to going to the big stage, right? Whether if it's AEW or the WWE, whatever it is. But there's a bunch of promotions that are indie that are getting phenomenal talents. Like, it's not like wrestling is foreign. It's not like wrestling isn't the biggest thing in the world right now.
Exactly.
Right? And I honestly think it's awareness too. That's a conversation that I had with Manny too. It's like, is DCW putting enough effort into being noticed? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, well then how do we kick it up even more?
Exactly.
Because once they go to the show, once a person goes to the show and they know what DCW is, even if they catch a pay-per-view, I think they're more likely to stick around.
Exactly. And that's a lot of my friends. I'm like, just come watch a show. You're going to enjoy it. You know, you may not even be a wrestling fan, but watching it live and being there, you're going to like it. You're going to enjoy it. And they always have a great time when they come out. We have several different types of shows. And I think they just kind of, like you say, they overlook it because, this is just Salt Lake. But then we also have nationally known ex-WWE guys, ex-AEW guys come through, and people overlook that even sometimes. And I don't know, it's just a weird thing.
Yeah. We have Manny that's making appearances on TV.
Left and right. Yeah, he was the first person since the Ravishing Rick Rude to be on both companies the same night on TV. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. That to hear that stat, that's kind of awesome.
Has Gutz took a bump yet?
I'll take chair shots. I've taken a few minor bumps. I usually do it at our adult shows, at the bar shows, because that's where my belt comes into play, and that's the whole gimmick of it. But no, I'm definitely not in the shape to be doing it every night.
When did you get your title?
Probably about 3 years ago. That's kind of the whole gimmick of this title, is that we only do it at bar fights, and the whole funny thing of it is that I'm the announcer and not really a wrestler, but I'm the champion. So what I like to do with it, I like to use it to get the fans' interaction. So usually what I'll do is I'll have a fan come up and I'll challenge them to something stupid, and they win the belt. And so I let them carry around the belt during the show and take photos and do all that, and then at the end of the show I'll challenge them back and hopefully win it back.
Yeah, that's dope.
And
man.
so that and I'm lucky that all of the rest of the crew has let me do this and let me say that I'm one of the champions, but it's that total fan interaction, crowd interaction, and to see people during our bar shows, they'll be like, "Who are you gonna pick to challenge you tonight?"
Yeah.
And so that's just the whole excitement of it, and it gives me something to talk about because I wear this everywhere I go. And I'll be in other states, and this gives me a platform to tell them about Devotion Championship Wrestling, and
that's why I'm saying you go 110% for the brand you tie yourself to, which is why I still can't understand why a local, brewery wouldn't want you to just be around and be that person.
Exactly
what you're doing for Montucky, do it for one of our local brands. We have so many great breweries that this is the opportunity for collaboration, right? Mm-hmm. We have a lot, excluding us, we have a lot of great talents and great creatives that should be collaborating with brands that are local, right? Just to uplift everybody.
Exactly. And be like, the whole thing is from this area. Yeah, no, it's just, I think it's kind of just a fluke. It just goes and goes. Yeah. I wasn't planning on being a beer mascot, but it works, and now I would go to other companies and be like, local beer companies, and be like, hey,
who should we be looking for in DCW? Who are some athletes that you're like, this is a good one, this is a good athlete?
We've got a lot of good guys, but one of the young up-and-comers right now is El Pirata de la Muerte, and I love announcing his name. When I do that live, I go all out, but he's one of our lucha guys, and he puts a lot of time in. We've also got another good up-and-comer in Dan the Man. He's our Hungry Howie's hardcore champion at the moment, which is another one of our bar titles. But he's kind of a hill character, but he puts in a lot of time. He drives from Logan 3 nights a week to come down and train. And our whole roster is stacked. Manny really does a great job at the training. They're in there 3 nights a week training. He does a great job on keeping on top of people to promote and get their social medias, and it's nice. He's also given me the chance to kind of help them a little bit with giving them tips on their social media. And I'm not saying I'm a social media genius or anything, but what I'm doing it's working for me. So
yes. I think take tips from you, man.
Yeah.
You are doing it. Your social media looks great. It's working, obviously, for the brands, So I think these guys can definitely get something from you. Yeah. Definitely. Is Tombstone still around?
Yeah, Tombstone actually lives down in St. George. He does. I've seen him doing some Vegas shows, but yeah, he's on and off of having injuries. So he hasn't been up here in a year or so. I think he's actually done some shows for some of the other companies. But yeah, Tombstone's around. He's still doing his thing.
Yeah.
My mom lives in St. George, so when he sees that I'm there, he's always, "Oh, stop on in, brother. Come on down."
I like to see him wrestle. Whenever I see him wrestle, I'm like, yeah, this is a good.
Yeah,
good.
He's got a good character, a good gimmick, and honestly, out of the ring, Tombstone's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In my WrestleMania 40 episode, I was talking about a Fatu wrestling in DCW. Who was that? Do you remember who that was?
I don't remember who that was because that was right before I started coming. But everybody would talk, Fatu wrestled here, and I'm not sure off the top of my head who it was he faced.
WrestleMania 40 is coming. Are you excited about it?
Oh, I'm super excited about it. Like, at first I was one of those fans that was like, The Rock, damn it. Why are you screwing this up? And so I'm really glad that they made him go heel and be like The Rock that he should be, and so I think they've saved it. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania with the whole I have a feeling something screwy's gonna happen.
What is it though? Is it Rock turning babyface? Is it Seth Rollins turning his back on Cody? Do we see Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf?
Dude, I've heard rumors of Rikishi showing up. Yeah. Like,
is it night 1? Is it night 2? We got Seth wrestling in both nights.
Yeah, like they could completely tie that whole story into both nights. There's no reason why they couldn't, and then it's going to be wild. I'm going to be on the road, but I'm going to be on my phone watching WrestleMania because I have to watch it live, or else once I get on social media, my whole feed is wrestling stuff. Yep. So
that's how I feel, just us being on the West Coast and watching Raw and SmackDown. That is always a spoiler. Like,
yep.
I won't be on. So me and my son, we watch Raw on Tuesday nights. So like Monday evening up until about 6 o'clock Tuesday, I'm like trying not to be on my phone because I don't want to see the spoilers.
Exactly. Yeah.
But hopefully that changes with Netflix. Hopefully we all around the world get to watch it live when it drops.
Yep.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, that would be.
Who else are you excited about for 40?
It's going to be a good show. I definitely want to see the Rhea Ripley line. She's an awesome wrestler. I'm also a big Asuka fan. And yeah, it's just going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, I think she's just over 200 days, or maybe it was 3 as champion.
Yeah.
Just over.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she's about to lose that title. Unfortunately, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good show. And surprisingly enough, it's Jake Paul, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He's surprised me at how good of a wrestler he is. I get the Paul brothers confused, but no, that surprised me that he's a good wrestler. I don't think he's going to retain the belt, but
you don't.
Who
do you think, KO or Randy? Who do you think takes it off of him?
I don't know. Probably I'd say Randy, but then again, he'll probably keep it to go into his Tyson fight.
Well, I mean, yeah, his brother's Tyson.
Fight, but he'll be there.
But yeah, and then you have. Here's my thing. I don't think he loses it just yet. I mean, he just put up a bunch of money to have his logo in the middle of the ring. It's a historic moment. The first time ever we have a logo in the middle of the ring. I don't see him losing it. I think he keeps it. He's a great athlete, too.
No, he is. That's the thing. He's really good, and he's put a lot into it. And that's what I like to see is that he's not just doing it as, I'm a celebrity here doing it. He's actually putting his time in and doing the whole thing.
I see hopefully Ricochet taking it off of him.
I love Ricochet. I've always loved him since the Lucha Underground days. And honestly, Lucha Underground's kind of what got me back into watching wrestling as an adult, because I'd be like, what is this show? And then I started looking, and I'm like, well, one of these guys is from Salt Lake. And that's also kind of got me back into this stuff. I'm like, well, you know, go see this guy from Salt Lake wrestle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gutz, what I want to do now is jump into some questions.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hos.
And this is host Beefy.
Listen to the Beans and Rice podcast.
Exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
Hey, yo, you're probably listening to the Unrestricted Podcast with Drerawka. We are? No, they are. Yeah, oh, right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the real Ruby. You can catch me and Fonzie and
The Funk.
G Daddy Funk on Lake Talk 801 Podcast.
Yeah, but I think you have to come in more smoother, more funnier. Like, yeah, and they could catch us on the Lake Talk 801 podcast.
Yeah, y'all can catch us on the Lake Talk 801.
Yeah, and be like, and yeah, man, hey, and they could catch people like me, the real Ruby, and people like you, Fonzie, and people like him, G Daddy Funk,
Wow,
on
that's
the
a lot
Lake
of
Talk
people.
801. Who cares?
What'd he say?
Huh?
I didn't hear him.
I don't know, but
Why-
this probably should be the ad.
Are these on?
Catch a new episode every Monday on all streaming platforms. The Lake Talk 801. Tune in now.
Now, Questions is powered by the good folks over at a bar named Sue. You can catch live music, sports events, including UFC pay-per-views at 3970 South Highland Drive and my home base, 8136 South State Street. Find out more at abarnamesue.com. Now, I asked the internet for questions, and they send them in. Random questions. First question comes in from Big Juice in Portland, Oregon. What action hero would you want to save you in an action movie? You're the damsel in distress. What action star are you counting on?
Oh, you got to have Arnold.
Oh, okay. Arnold, huh?
Give me your hand.
Which version of Arnold? Are we getting Terminator? Are we getting Last Action Hero?
I grew up loving Conan the Barbarian, you know. But then Terminator 2 was the first R-rated movie I ever went to as a kid, and I remember going to that with my uncle in the theater. But then you've got the Predator, you son of a bitch.
Yes. All right. I gotta go with my man Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Rumble in the Bronx, Drunken Master.
Oh, yeah.
He's coming to save me. He's giving me comic relief. He's going to save me. I'm going to laugh while I'm being saved.
Well, that's kind of why I like Arnold. He's got comic relief just being himself. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah, Arnold was that guy. Good question. I like that. Thanks, Big Juice. All right. Jameson in Salt Lake City. Who is a wrestler from the past, but in their prime, that would be relevant in keeping up today?
I mean, a lot of them are really good, but I honestly think Ravishing Rick Rude would be killing it right now as a heel because of how kind of like he was just so arrogant, I guess you would say, and arrogancy really makes people mad right now.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be a hot heel.
Oh, definitely. I would love to see China right now. I think China didn't really have the right. We didn't have, and maybe we did have the right female casting support, and they didn't do it the right way. But I feel like now, honestly, it's arguable that the women are doing way better than the men.
No, exactly. I think you're absolutely right because China was around and China could have been, they were going for a different angle at that time. You know, we definitely know where they were going with that. But like you say, now the women's division, I like watching women's wrestling. It's pretty much just as good as the guys. And yeah, if China was around now, then that'd be perfect for her, you know.
You mentioned Asuka being one of your favorites. I think Asuka is so talented. You look at Damage Control and in general. Bailey's incredible. Io Sky is phenomenal. One of my favorites. And you got arguably one of the best wrestlers in the sport right now, Rhea Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
Running the game. When WWE says you're heel, the world says no. That's our baby face. We love her.
Yep.
What's going to happen when they break up the Judgment Day, though? What does she keep the same look, the same thing? Is she still the Rhea Bloody Ripley, or is it something else? Does she go back to being bubbly?
I don't. That's the thing. I love the edge she's got, but yeah, it's people love her, and she's a heel, and I think that's why nowadays you find that heels are what the people like, and I mean the people are going to like what the people like.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good question, Jameson. I appreciate that. Isaac Hearn in West Valley City. Explore space or Earth more?
Ooh, I'd say explore Earth because, I mean, I know there's so much out there in space, but, I mean, there's so much on Earth that we haven't even explored. I mean, not even to mention the ocean, but even just to look at it like, oh, you want to tour the world? Yeah, I'd like to tour the world. I'd also just like to tour the United States. There's just so much stuff everywhere that I want to see what I could actually touch rather than space. Space is out there.
Yeah, I want to go, and to take it even further, like the species here on Earth, like how the hell does an octopus get translucent?
Yeah,
you know, these chameleons. How can we get that technology?
Serious, like it's obviously natural if they're like lighting up and changing colors.
Yeah,
I want to do that.
That would be dope, right?
Yeah,
gorillas. Studying more on gorillas. You know, the species in the ocean that you mentioned. You know, those deep sea creatures.
Yeah, there's things down there we don't even know about.
Have we truly seen the bottom? You know, have we? You know, are there things that can't get up to a certain level that could really be the cure for certain diseases on the very top?
Exactly. Like that's the whole thing. You know, what is here that is obtainable that we haven't even seen, and what is the potential? You know.
Absolutely. Gutz, man, I really appreciate you coming through. Your time is very valuable, man. This is something that we can't get back, so I really appreciate you sitting across.
I love it.
What's the next shows? Where can we follow you? All that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Gutz Rules, Gutz, like Guts, but Gutz. And yeah, you can follow Devotion Championship Wrestling on Instagram. That'll tell you all of our shows that we have coming up. Our next show is this coming Saturday, April 5th. It's going to be Payment Due because it's big tax season, so you got to pay the man. And that one will be in Salt Lake at Light Tree Studios. I'll be doing, I don't have any meet and greets lined up at the moment, but I'm hoping to set up some more meet and greets in Salt Lake so we can do some more distribution with the can. And you'll be able to, my can is available now in a lot of stores nationwide. So keep your eyes open for the Montucky cold snack cans. And yeah, I'll just be here and there and everywhere. My son was at Walmart on 13th South and he found a flyer. Oh, nice. Found the little card flyer and he brought it home. He was like, look, Dad, look. And I was like, oh yeah, man, they got the show coming up. Yeah, I don't know who found it or figured it out, but we've got a little trick, and I don't know if they want us doing it, but we go in and we stick our cards on the WWE toys in Walmart and stuff. It makes sense. Tell people of our next shows, you know. Absolutely. Dang, I just had a question. It just slipped my mind. And it was a good one, and I totally missed it. Oh, man. But anyway, I appreciate your time, brother. No, Dre, it's been a good time. I enjoy doing this. Yeah, man. We'll have you back, man. I think if you're always welcome I would to come be back. Down. I'd love to come back. We'll talk some more wrestling. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Drerawka, Drerawka. And as always, hit the like button. Subscribe, share it with a friend. It's free to show love. Doesn't cost you a damn thing, but to hit the damn button. That's it. All right. Have the day you deserve. Always protect your light. We're out. Peace.
All right, you ready, my man?
Yeah. What's the deal with? I'm not going to use a lot of vulgarity. Just wondering.
It's all good.
Okay.
Anything that I put on social media, I usually cut out any curse words.
Cool.
Just so we don't get flagged.
Yep.
So people can see us, right?
Yep.
But yeah, man, say whatever you want. There's no holds barred, man. It's the Unrestricted Podcast, so we got to live true to the brand, right?
Awesome. Absolutely. You got to be authentic. You know, that's what it's about.